Now, by all accounts, this week would have to be one of the most damaging yet politically since the PDP launched its remorseless assault on itself following its loss of the 2023 presidential election. Apart from the resurgence of gaping divisions, some of the most senior and highly placed chieftains of the party have now either resigned or are reported to be preparing to resign imminently. Such is the bloody backdrop to the party's highly anticipated but now much diminished national convention, which is due to take place soon. Everything seems to be on the verge of collapse. And out of its ashes, the new opposition coalition movement seems to be emerging. The former Senate President, David Mark, who was a foundation member of the PDP and has been in the party for 27 years, resigned earlier and pitched his tent with the opposition coalition. He's now been officially announced as the interim chairman of the African Democratic Congress, or ADC, at an event that was attended by the likes of P2B, Ralph Arebesola, Akim Baba Ahmed, Rotimi Amechi, Nasir El Rufai, Abubakar Malami, Dino Malaya, Dele Momodu, Enyinaya Baribe, Gabriel Suswam, Ireti Kingibe, Uche Secondus, Victor Ome, Loretta Onochie, Liali Moke, and many others. So what exactly is going on, and what does all this mean, and how schizophrenic does it all look? Well, for more on this, I'm joined now in the studio by the former PDP presidential aspirant and publisher of Ovation magazine, Basharu Dele Momodu, who was at today's meeting of the newly constituted ADC. Thank you very much indeed for coming in.
Good evening, Charles.
Good evening to you. I was going to ask you whether you just went there as an observer or whether you yourself, because a lot of big wigs have now moved into the ADC, and whether you're one of them. But I'm looking at the cap there that says ADC. I am presuming that you have in fact crossed over.
No, I've always been a fan of political parties. So if I like a particular party, whether I join or not, I will support that party.
But have you
and
joined?
I'm supporting ADP. No, the registration only just started. The first registration was our chairman.
Right.
Let me call him my chairman.
Well, you're saying our chairman,
yes,
so that implies that you have joined.
In principle, you understand, I consider myself a member of that coalition.
Right.
In principle. So we need to go through the registration exercise.
No, but when you say the coalition, the opposition coalition movement is different from being a member of the ADC.
That's what I'm telling you,
Right.
that the coalition has officially adopted ADC. That's why you have this cap. And it was distributed, and I wore it very proudly today.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're not hedging your bets anymore. You're in fully.
No. There is no, there was something I wrote about 2 weeks ago that my soul has already left PDP. It's my body that remains. And a lot of people misconstrued it to mean that, another one is on his way to APC. No, I have no business with APC. And I won't have any business with APC because of the nature and character of the operatives of that party. A lot of people that you saw today, even I was surprised to see them join the coalition. It is out of deep frustration.
Yeah, but let me ask you this. I apologize for interrupting.
Yeah.
Are all those people who were at that meeting today now members or have pledged to be members of the ADC?
I can tell you that 99.9% have pledged. I don't know.
Is P2B joining the ADC?
They will have to collapse their structures for the coalition to work. That's why they are there. Peter Obi is not a time waster. He came.
Is Atiku Abubakar in this ADC now?
Of course, everybody. That's why we have an interim chairman,
Right.
and we have an interim national secretary in Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola.
Right.
And all of them, everybody, excitedly
You know, the reason I asked
endorsed
this...
ADC today.
Right. The reason I asked this quite pointedly is that you're smiling. You know the way Nigerian politicians are. When they start jockeying for position now, and then the position doesn't favor them, suddenly they'll say, well, I never really was part of that party.
But this one has nothing to do with position.
Right.
Even
No, I know in
one
your
of the
case it has
most
nothing to do with
respected-
position, but
No,
I don't know about the others.
No, one of the most respected and respectable leaders present today, Peter Obi, said that for him it's not about power, it's about good governance. So in principle, all the people who came together today, they know that Nigeria is at crossroads. And one thing, I can tell you, one thing that is driving us is this attempt to force a one-party dictatorship on Nigeria. Nothing else. Before you talk about the economy, if you don't have a proper government in place that you can even dialogue with. Imagine we just wanted to formalize ADC today. They were blocking hotels, blocking this, blocking that. But those guys outsmarted them. And I'm so proud. The place was so jam-packed. El-Rufai, myself, all of us, we had to trek from the main road into the Yaradua Center this afternoon. You could see the
that
determination.
sounds like serious oppression.
No, they've really oppressed Nigerians. It's not just us. We've been used to oppression, from military now to civilian dictatorship. We've been used to it. But the ordinary Nigerian needs those who have the voice to rescue them from. You can see that everywhere you turn, there is crisis. Lagos State, assembly members gathered together, sacked their speaker miraculously. Someone somewhere said, no, you can't do it. They brought him back. In Rivers, some legislators voluntarily absconded from their political party. Openly. It's on video. And yet, we're still doing semantics. We're talking big grammar. When automatically what the law says is that they are gone. Now you have a president who is sitting down with someone encouraging him that no, the governor you sacked, if he must come back, these are the conditions and conditionalities, as if you are talking to IMF. So it's no longer about governance. It's about personal ego. And some people have vowed to resist it. Today, for me, the biggest news, a lot of people missed it, was the attendance of someone we all consider our Baba in politics. The former chairman of APC, the former governor of Edo, John Oyegun.
Yes.
That is a perfect gentleman. I worked closely with him in exile, with Tinubu. That old man, there is nothing he's looking for.
Very respectable.
Very. Yeah. What is he looking for? He's not looking for money. He's not looking for power. He's not looking for position. He came. There was a man there today, they said he was a 93-year-old man, an original member of ADC. I think he's their treasurer. The man voluntarily resigned and said, look, we want Nigeria to be better in our own lifetime. So for me, Charles, it's not about power. It's not about, I've been in opposition all my life. I joined politics as far back as 1982. I was only 22 years old in 1982. And since then, all I've been waiting for is a better Nigeria. And that better Nigeria has become elusive. Some of our elders, like Wole Soyinka once said, theirs was a wasted generation. In fact, ours is an over-wasted generation. And we see people who have never done any business in their lives controlling our lives and saying, no, we must be their slaves. That is my personal concern.
But you see, Bashirun, people say that all the people who attended today's event, with the exception of people like yourself and maybe one or two others, are all former this and former that. And these are all people who have had the opportunity to rule this country on different levels, and look where Nigeria is. So why should Nigerians be confident that they are the ones who are going to rescue this country?
In politics, you must seek power. And in seeking power, you go to those who can make power available to your party. You forgot that President Donald Trump was sacked from office. He was removed. Then Biden came in. What happened? The Republicans realized that without that former president, they were not going to make the White House. They brought him back, and he delivered. So the first thing now is that those of us who keep complaining...
Is he delivering or is he dividing America? But we're not here to talk about Donald Trump anyway.
It depends on Americans. I'm not an American.
Yeah, well, we're not here to talk about Trump. Yeah.
So, but what I'm saying is that right now, we need to chase away the hyena before we start talking to the chicken. Because for as long as the hyena is around, the chicken is not safe. So when APC is gone, those of us who love good governance should now proliferate the new political party. What we all do is, after we all vote, we go back home, fold our arms. Only a few of us now are speaking and saying, no, Tinubu, don't do this, don't do that. But majority of the sufferers, the biggest sufferers are always the worst critics,
right?
The worst fanatics.
But let me try and get some clarity on what is going on, because I mean, when it says the opposition coalition has formally adopted the ADC, do you mean a group within the coalition? Because the coalition was also attempting at one stage to register a new party. In fact, there was a big noise made about that. I think it was the ADA. Whatever happened to that?
It was part of the strategy.
Right.
I can tell you now.
So it was a smokescreen.
Oh, today, the outgoing chairman of ADC said it, that they've been at these meetings for 18 months. They had to outmaneuver. You know, everybody says, oh, Tinubu is a master strategist. So if you are dealing with Brazil, you are playing football with Brazil, you can't play his style. You have to play a style that he doesn't understand.
Yeah.
So these guys were meeting globally. They met in Morocco, they met in London, they met in Ghana. In fact, on one occasion, during one of their meetings, they could not arrive together. People were checking into hotel one by one, so that nobody would suspect that a meeting was going on in that particular hotel. These guys are smart. You are dealing with intelligent people. Trust me, when you see people like Ilia Imoke, the former governor of Cross River, you see someone like, Aminu Tambua. These are intelligent guys who operate underground. And they love their country. They have the experience. They have the exposure.
Well, I can certainly vouch for Dele Momodu. He loves this country very much.
Too much. I've never seen such a man. And he doesn't even want to take credit for anything. All he wants, if you see, he's a man of modest means, modest enjoyment. He doesn't, indulge in frivolities. And these are the people who put all these things together. And you can see the results today.
Yeah, so we're not seeing as somebody put it, the Wike syndrome, where you're working for you're in another party, working for another party.
Well, I'm tired of talking about Wike. I believe that the way things are going, sooner than later, he would realize that he's wasted a lot of time and resources on nothing, flights of fancy.
But what has happened to the structure that was already existing within the ADC? I mean, I know you mentioned that, some of them, because, Ralph Nwosu and so on said, the chairman, he was resigning along with his executive. But they haven't all just given up and yielded their positions to you, because, we saw the former ADC presidential candidate, Dumebi Kachukwu. He's not happy at all. He released a statement, and there are a few other statements coming from the ADC. They say you guys have come in through the back door. What do you say to them?
Dumebi is my very good brother, very, very close brother. And I'm sure we'll probably speak later tonight. I was a presidential candidate in a different party, the National Conscience Party. I was an aspirant in PDP. You have no say. You are not an official member. You are just a candidate. So the two most important people, and those guys were smart, and they got them, the chairman and the secretary, the national secretary. They were both present there today. You understand? So, of course, if I'm aggrieved, have I not been aggrieved forever for PDP? Could I do anything? We're powerless. Even governors of PDP today are powerless. We will go on there and insult them, abuse them. They can't even talk. So, if today, now as people have left, I hear Damagun is now saying that he's going to woo them. There was another report that he said they will sanction them. You can't sanction them, and you can't woo them, because they've already left. These are not kids. They were begging for 2 years just because Wike lost a presidential bid. Wike lost vice presidential bid. He has remained inconsolable. I say it every time I speak about him. Good guy, Mr. Infrastructure, but this anger, you can't forgive.
Yeah, but he must be formidably powerful. I mean, to have taken over a party, and all of you left because of him.
You know,
I mean,
if you have Tinubu behind you, you will be powerful. I dare him to join APC tomorrow. Tell him that if he has the guts, let him join APC. The president told him the other day, when you are ready to join us, we'll welcome you. He can't. Because for him, it is better to reign in hell than to serve in heaven.
Yeah, because he's already essentially got
exactly.
his grip over the PDP. Right.
He's the capo di tutti capi in
PDP.
But
let me make this point, and perhaps not too stridently, but as a kind of warning sign, because I mean, you've said very nice things about, you know, the relationship that is evolving with the new ADC. But I mean, I certainly hope that it's not going to go into sort of worse terrain, because some of them, I mean, not just maybe, some of them are threatening to tie this whole thing in knots in the courts.
Yes. You know where that is coming from, obviously. But I'm telling you that technically, they are in a better shape than us. We couldn't control our acting chairman.
Right, but if the APC are doing what you say they're doing, I mean, they can, you know, inspire people to go to court.
Going to court does not kill anybody. They will have their lawyers. The other side will have their lawyers. The reason you are saying this is because you have no confidence probably in the judiciary, and you believe there is someone somewhere who controls the Nigerian judiciary. But that cannot go on forever. This case is very clear. They have their chairman, they have their secretary, who voluntarily supported this coalition. And anybody who loves Nigeria, except the person is working now for the ruling government, would want to reverse what has happened today. I am telling you, I've been seeing coalitions. I was there when the Buhari coalition started. I've never seen anything as massive as this. People coming from all walks of life.
I understand all that, but how much consultation was there
18 months.
With the people who were in the party?
18 months.
Yeah, but was it just with Ralph himself, or I mean, because the point they're making is that if you go across the country to all their groups, you've got women's groups and this and that, who are all part of the ADC, that they never heard about all this until today.
Nigeria is a country of over 200 million people. You are not going to consult 200 million before you take a decision.
Well, the 200 million are not in the ADC.
There are stakeholders. It's not a very big party. Do you understand? It's not a very big party. And there are stakeholders. And the major stakeholders have said, look, this is the best way for us to go and to develop our party platform. And for the sake of Nigeria, we are placing our country above personal gains, above personal interest. I salute them. They did very well. I was almost in tears because I never realized that Nigerians could volunteer to save their country from perfidy.
Well, to be fair, Ralph Nwosu was sitting where you were sitting a couple of months ago, and he did say that the party was open to the kind of things that they were hearing that this opposition coalition wanted to do. But is there likely to be some pushback, or at least a kink, from the Electoral Commission, INEC, or is all this legally acceptable and all the boxes have been ticked as far as due process is concerned?
You see, no matter how partial INEC is, no matter how reckless the judiciary is, it gets to a stage in life where you must receive the fear of God. And that is why the mobilization today, I believe, will drive the fear of God into the ruling party. I know there are people who still throw tantrums and do their usual things, but My message to Tinubu, not I don't worry myself about the wickets of this world. You see, they are just people being used by the powerful man. He's smart to have them working for him. He knows they need him for survival. And so he will continue to use them. But my advice to Tinubu is that once upon a time, you were one of our leaders when we were fighting for this democracy. So what shall it profit you to do 2 terms, 3 terms, if you can live forever and rule Nigeria forever? But at the end of the day, your name enters that book of ignominy. If I meet him today, that's the question I was. Is it worth it? You got what Awolowo could not get. You got what Abiola could not get. What Azikiwe was chasing. What all the big people, Chief Olufalaye. These are people of incredible mental capacity. They couldn't get it. You got it. Either by hook, by crook, by luck, by whatever means, you got it. And because you must do second term, by fire, by force, then you will destroy the entire democracy. We have elders in Nigeria. In the days of tribulations, children run to the elders of the house. And the people you saw today, they've consulted the elders of the house. They've appealed to them to intervene. But unfortunately, some of the guys we have in APC today are people who don't listen to anybody. They are too power drunk that they cannot listen to anybody. So, but before they collapse our democracy, some people must rise up. That's what ADC did today. It is not convenient for a chairman to voluntarily withdraw, for a secretary of a party to voluntarily. I know what it took for them to persuade Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. It wasn't easy. These are people, some of us have been with Tinubu most of our adult life. And we said, no, we must place country above friendship. If Tinubu is doing right, wallahi, I'll be the first to support him. But this harassment, I'm not talking about the economy. I'm not even, so don't let's go there, sir. I am talking about the democracy that we jointly fought for. That a day will come in a civilian regime, we will not be able to speak freely. We will not be able to congregate freely. I mean, it's scandalous.
Yeah, well, what about what happens now inside the ADC itself? Because you've used words like democracy and so on, and one of the big issues in the PDP and Labour and so on was internal democracy. I mean, what is going to happen going forward? You've got all these people who have massive political ambitions now collapsing, emptying into the ADC. What's going to happen when it comes to positions? I mean, when it comes to trying to be the presidential candidate, because there's only one person who can be presidential candidate. One person can be vice president. How much jockeying is that going to lead to? And these are people who have done things politically in the past where they used whatever muscle they had, whether it's financial or political, to try and get their way. I mean, is that not going to happen inside the ADC?
My brother Charles, maybe the next time you interview me, I'll be able to give you more information about if there is any jockeying or not.
Or has it already been decided?
No, but I believe that in principle, they know what is likely to happen. And they've decided, they've promised that they will not allow that to divide them.
Right.
That for me is joyful. I am excited. You can see today that I'm very relaxed. You know, before there used to be tension.
Well, to be honest, you always come across as relaxed.
I know today I'm extra relaxed.
Well, unless you're a very good actor.
In fact, when you called me this afternoon, yeah, I didn't waste any time.
That is true.
I said yes.
That is true.
You know,
and we're grateful to you for that.
No, I'm always. I told you that we have a written agreement that I will always say yes to you unless I'm not available. Yeah. You know, so well, but seriously, what I saw today was very reassuring. And if APC like, they can treat it with levity or dismiss it. I mean, I saw one of their ministers the other day saying that they are dead on arrival. If they are dead on arrival, then why all these merry-go-round, go and block one hotel, go and do this, they can't meet, they can't. No, just leave them, let them do their own thing. When Tinubu was being harassed, as governor of Lagos State, a lot of us stood up. They took him to the Code of Conduct Tribunal. I remember. And we knew it was a political witch hunt. We all supported him. Today, a lot of people are capitulating. Why? Because either there is a subtle threat or even direct.
But it doesn't necessarily mean that it is him orchestrating it, though, does it? I mean, a lot of people act on behalf of someone believing that this is what this person would want to see happen, and so they take their own initiative. I mean, I'm not saying that it is, but I'm just saying, I mean, do you have any sort of direct evidence that he's the one who's sitting there plotting, you know, and implementing?
I studied Yoruba at the University of Ife, now Bafemi Awolowo University. And there is a popular saying that the witch cried yesterday, the child dies today. Who does not know that it was the witch of yesterday that killed the child? You know? So that is the reality on ground. I've told you that all the people who are making noise in APC today, they're able to do that with the almighty power. You know, the Nigerian president is probably the most powerful president in the world.
Indeed.
More powerful than Donald Trump.
Indeed.
So that's the fear. You can see the way governors who have just finished 2 years out of a 4-year tenure, they are jumping ship as if they are victims of mass hypnotism. You know, it's unbelievable. They are not even going.
It is difficult to believe.
It's unbelievable. You became a governor when you never even dreamt of being a governor. God made you a governor. Now you are relinquishing the power of God to the power of gods with feet of clay. Sad. And that's why whatever we can do, there is nothing. Opposition is a thankless duty.
So the ADC now the rallying point for the opposition coalition. Are you going to go in and pull in all the other more people into the party?
Oh, people are joining in droves. People are joining. They are excited. A lot of people who were waiting before to see what you could. I think I forwarded to you the release from former governor Chibuke Rotimi Ameki that he has formally resigned from APC. You saw Malami today, the former Attorney General and Minister of Justice. You saw him. So when you see those caliber of people, you know that they are very determined and they are very focused on what they are doing. Position of not position. There is nothing you want to give Malami again. There is nothing you want to give Amechi. He's been speaker for 8 years, governor for 8 years, minister for 8 years. 24 years in the life of man. He's just 60. And he still has life ahead of him. So if his dream is to be a president or whatever, he still has time is on his side. Me, I've crossed the retirement line, 65. So, but our country is our country, and we must rescue it from carpetbaggers, from people who feel they can suppress the will of the people, from those democratic terrorists. That's how we call them. They are terrorizing Nigeria. And they will realize that nobody has ever succeeded. It's easy. You can hijack a state. You can hijack, but to sell off Nigeria as if we are chicken, no. It's not going to fly.
On that note, I want to thank you very much indeed. Really good to see you. Dele Momodu is the former PDP presidential aspirant, publisher of Ovation magazine, and now a member of the newly constituted ADC. Thank you very much indeed. But it's true.
I like the way you have already rubbed me, but I have no apologies.
No, but you said you had in principle.
Definitely,
you just
100%.
need to be
I'm
properly
already
registered.
wearing the cap, you know.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well,
the cap is very beautiful.
Yeah. And the cap says ADC for all Nigerians.
Yes, that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.